If you're anything like my students, I'm sure you know that you could be getting much more power and more consistency out of every single club in your bag, but something is stopping you. Now, from my experience of dealing with students every single week, it's simply because you don't have the right pattern of movement. Good players have a certain pattern in their movement that guarantees strike nearly every single time and effortless power. Most of my students who come to see me, who are lacking all of that, lacking consistency, they have the complete opposite pattern. But here's the great thing. Achieving the correct pattern is easier and more natural than most people realize, okay? It requires very little practice at times because you don't have to worry about all these complicated swing positions. Those positions can happen beautifully naturally if you just follow what I'm about to teach you in this video. But before I get into the video, if you're new to the channel, it's your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos like this every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free download practice guide in the description box below. So I know that you could be hitting the ball much further, but more importantly, striking it more consistently with every club in your bag. And I'm going to show you how in this video. So we want to ultimately get the right type of pattern. So the chances are, if you're like any of my students that come and see me, 99% of them do this. We want to have this kind of weight forward, we want the handle leading, we want to strike the ball, then the ground in a beautiful solid motion here and powerful. And we want it to be effortless. The problem is what I'd see is completely opposite. Most of the time what I'm seeing is a golfer that kind of releases the club very, very early. They get into this kind of flicky motion here. They're rising up, there's chicken wings, you name it. Lots and lots of power, and that goes all the way through into your fairway woods and your driver as well. Now, why is that? Well, let's start initially with the simple pattern of movement. You see, what most golfers are doing, and I want you to check, if you could grab a golf club so you can do this with me, so you can feel this. But if you hold the club out in front of you here, most of the time what golfers are doing, they're swinging the club head, the head end. They swing the head back, okay, and their body reacts. If you throw the head away on the way back, what's going to happen very quickly is you're going to end up throwing it away very early in the downswing. This creates this type of motion here where belly flicky, the elbow starts sticking out, and we're really in a very weak position. Now, good players, they realize there's two sides to a golf club. There's your club end, and this is a grip end. Now what I want you to do is this. Good players do this. They move the grip end, okay? We're focusing on the grip moving, and it's the grip that moves the club back. And look at this. As I move the grip through, what do you see with any good player here? They create shaft lean. How do they create this shaft lean? Because they're moving the grip end, okay? This is what creates the lean going through. But if you swing the club head on its own, you're now going to get this kind of throwing motion which gets you into all kinds of problems, all right? So grab your club, let's do this together. Hold the club up, and this head will move, but what I want you to do is I want you to really sense here, look at this. As I'm moving the club backwards and forwards, and then I start adding in a little bit of body with this, look at this motion, look where my body is, look where the hands are. This is really powerful. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now clearly at the moment it looks actually kind of wristy, yeah? But we're gonna add the body in a second to make it look beautifully naturally. All I want you to teach you first is the pattern of movement, okay? Now what you do with that pattern is this. You can apply it on a golf course in terms of a waggle. So what I want you to do, don't waggle the head where the grip stays still. Do the opposite. Waggle the grip end, and then see if you can get a feel in how the body will react to that motion. Yeah? So, no, that's the flick. There we go. Now look, I'm going to bring my body into this to try and hit that shot. A different pattern of movement. Start with that, and then I'm going to show you how to naturally add in the actual body to make this so effortless. Simple as that. Beautiful feeling, lovely rhythm, 90-mile-an-hour clubhead speed with complete effortless motion. So let's now move on to how you start adding in the body to this motion to make it smooth and rhythmical. So look at that there. So That's 171 yards with an 8 iron, okay? And you probably doesn't look like I'm trying too hard. And the reason being is unlike so many amateur golfers, I'm not using my wrists or my hands excessively. My body is leading the swing to make use of these powerful muscles which you have. Now, if you can walk, what I'm about to teach you, you can do, I promise you. So take a look at this and tell me what you see, because this is gonna make your golf swing so much easier. So, this is my backswing. This is my downswing. It's my backswing. It's my downswing. What do you see in the movement of that body? Now, what I'm doing is to make it naturally body-led, I am naturally creating momentum. And I'm doing it, look at this, I'm exaggerating just for you. When I'm here, this right side of my body, look, has gone down and it's gone inwards naturally. I've wound it up. When it's down, what does it want to do? It wants to push off the ground to create momentum in this club. Now on the way down, look, as I'm coming down, I'm already preparing my body naturally in a place, look, where it's wound in, it's in the ground, because if it's in the ground and this is all twisted, this whole kind of almost like a spring here is in the ground, what's it going to want to do? Push off the ground. This is winding up and it's loading your body and it's effortless. Compare that to this. Very little, or maybe guys who are turning their hips backwards and forwards, there's no loading or spring-like motion in the ground, so therefore the body just goes to its next power source, which is just hands and arms. No power, no real control. So let me show you really quickly how you can learn this and feel this. Now, it'll take a little bit of time, but once you've learned the sensations, I promise you, it's really, really worth it. So all we've got to get you doing is creating natural momentum in your backswing. Here's how you do it, okay? Well, we said, look, we don't want the wrist taking control, we want the body taking control, right? Now, for the body to take control in a really natural way, you have to have loaded it, okay? So this is the first exercise I want you to feel, okay? And it's an exaggerated one, but I promise you it will really automate your entire golf swing. So what I'm gonna do here is this. I'll show it in slow motion first. I'm gonna as I step to my right hand side, I'm gonna let my knee move naturally inwards. Here my body's kind of rotating inwards, almost collapsing this way. Now once I've collapsed it here, what's happening? I've loaded the spring of my right side. Because it's loaded here, what do you think the spring's gonna wanna do? It's gonna want to unload. It's this unloading that then creates your natural backswing. Now with my students, I might give them a direction, I might get them to look to the ceiling behind them. So ultimately here, look, when they have loaded the spring, we're gonna look to the ceiling. Look to the ceiling, but what we're doing is, notice here, there's no positions here. I am just flowing beautifully into a backswing. So different and so natural compared to what you see with so many other golfers, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to do. Spend a bit of time. Now you can do it in different ways. You could do it from a standing position where you literally just feel this is collapsing initially. Remember, I'm exaggerating. Collapse it in so you can feel it and then just swing back. You could, I get some of my students here to almost, in a sense, when they're stepping here, so the toes pointing almost this angle, because this angle means it's loaded, and then I can unload it on the way back, okay? Whatever it is, the idea is for you to start off feeling and getting and experiencing how momentum's created, okay? Because once you've done that, you can then go to a static position. And again, don't overthink it. You could go, well, I just want to create momentum in my backswing. Not with my wrist, but look from here, look, I'm gonna feel my feet moving, I feel that right side, and off we go. Now, if I was you, what I'd probably do straight away is just jump straight in, and again, don't overthink it. Just aim to hit a few shots before we work on the downswing of just creating some momentum, right? So don't walk to a golf ball and get very static. Just take that sensation of momentum like this, create some momentum on the way back with those legs, and then get yourself set here. Walk to a golf ball, don't overthink it, trust yourself. Get yourself set here, create some momentum, and away we go, right? Really exaggerate initially, okay? Now, once you've done that, and I spent some time creating that momentum in your backswing, then what I do is start to associate the opposite, right? So it's basically the same thing. We have just loaded, look, I'm exaggerating here, loaded your trail side. Now what we want to do is feel what the left side, the lead side needs to do. So here, look, the lead side needs to do completely opposite. It's loading this way to do what? Move this way. So how do you train it? Again, different ways. Ultimately, all I want you to do to start off with, you could start with your trail foot behind, push forward here, and then just to let your knee and everything here move inwards. Why? As this ankle, knee, everything twists, pushes into the ground, what's he gonna wanna do? We have loaded it, so what's he gonna wanna do? He's gonna wanna push backwards, and you could feel this motion a few times. Get that exercise going. 1, 2, and notice this, the lead side look is always then leading the club look, handle leads, then fires the club. This is something I do not see with amateur golfers. Why? Because there's nothing going on here, it's just a wristy swing. So, practice those motions. Different ways to do it, you've just seen one way, just feel it here, pushing in, load it, push back. Really sense that pushing back of that leg, right? The other thing you could do here, I get some of my players here to swing, feet close together, step. Notice how I'm stepping with my toe pointing this way. Why? Because the more I point it this way, the more I've loaded this way. And again, it's loaded to unload it here. So I can push off that ground. If I exaggerated, it'd look like this, almost like I'm jumping. Yes, if you're a senior golfer, you don't want to do that. But we're really kind of sensing that load in the ground. Now, when you move to the golf ball, the purpose of doing exercises in static motions like this are to promote feelings and visualizations that you can apply naturally to your swing. So the more you do these exercises at home, feeling momentum on the right side, feeling momentum on the left side, then what you can do, look, is start to picture them merging together. I'm going to do it slowly. Look at this. 1, and look, I'm loading. 2. 1 and 2. Notice how, as I'm coming back, I'm already preloading this. 1. Look at this. Watch this. I'm exaggerating. Yes, a little bit. Just so you can see it. But picture this motion and start to create these motions for yourself. Then gradually speed this whole thing up until you get into a comfortable rhythmical motion. And then you, again, don't overthink it, just take that rhythm and flow. It's almost like water or waves, just backwards, forwards. 1, 2, create those waves. Feel that what you're creating in the legs and the body is transferring naturally to power. And if I really want to kind of really ramp one of these up, I'm just gonna push harder, create more momentum from that ground. Again, still with an 8 iron. 1, 2, I'll call that a little bit clean. Let's have a look at this. 170, beautiful flowing motions, okay? So remember, exercises at home will teach you the sensations of loading that one side to create momentum, and then here, preparing, loading the other side to create momentum. Notice, I'm not focusing on all these positions because the club will follow what your body is doing. Rely on the club head and you create wristiness and a complete lack of power, all right? So I hope you get stuck into these exercises. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, maybe share it with one of your friends. And of course, look, if you're new to the channel and you love videos like this one, press that subscribe button and the bell. Look, if you want to know how to apply this to driver, click this video right here. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.